All right, today we're going to be talking about we're going to discuss, I guess we're going to get into this video. This is part of a podcast that I seen Dr. Umar. Um he's an activist, a black activist, and he's very uh stern on what he believes in for the African black community, I guess you could say. But he talks about in this video, in this clip, or this time in this podcast, he talks about how um he talks about pastors and politicians. And I want to see what you guys have to say about this because it's very interesting. And also, I want you guys to let me know in the comments what you think. Is this true? Is this something that we all see? Is this something that you see? Um, I just want perspective on this, and it's very interesting on what he's talking about. So let's get right into it. Waste no time. We're gonna play it, and I want to see what y'all think.
One time, by the way. That's
Wow.
13 million at one time. It's the largest black organization in modern history. And to the Honorable Marcus Garvey's credit, he's the only leader of a mass movement post-slavery that did not have to use religion to keep black people's attention.
That's perfect. Can we go into the religious topic there, based off of that?
Go ahead.
So you've been kind of very outspoken about like religious leaders. I think specifically in the Joe Budden Patreon episodes, you
So he did release both episodes.
there
The
were
second
both
one is out?
Yes, the
Okay.
second one, and
'Cause
that was a
somebody
while
texted me the
ago.
other day and said, why Joe Budden ain't released part 2?
So maybe that's on YouTube, but I have Joe Budden's Patreon.
And on the Patreon, the whole interview can be seen.
I watched both the interviews. It's
Gotcha.
part 1 and
Thank
part 2.
you. Okay, so I can let them know it's out there.
Yes. So, and you specifically called religious leaders or past. I think you were specifically talking about pastors. Maybe the ones that you've experienced. I'm not sure if you were being general when you were saying it, but you called them kind of narcissists. You said they're doing it a lot of the time for their own to fulfill their egos. Is that based on your experience, or is that something that you believe as a whole? And I'll go into something a little bit. My dad's a pastor, and I've specifically watched him my entire life. He became a pastor, I believe, 2 years before I was born. And I watched him my entire life not be that person, not be the narcissist, not do it for the money, and really be, first of all, an activist within my community in Toronto, and actually helping people. One thing that you talk about a lot is building institutions, and he's definitely not been able to build a building as an institution, but he himself has been an institution for people.
Gotcha.
Whether it's religious, whether it's if you need groceries and you're broke, he's done that for people. He's done everything. So when you speak about pastors like that, is that based on your experience, or is that based on something that you think is a general thing? Like, do you think that
It's
for
based
everybody?
on my study
Yeah.
of the institution of religion amongst African people all around the world, historically and in modern times.
Got you.
So there are exceptions to the rule. Okay, my 4 times great grand uncle, a gentleman by the name of Bishop Henry. Excuse me, I'm convinced I'm confusing Bishop Henry Turner with Bishop Alexander Wayman. Okay, so Bishop Alexander Wayman, who is the 7th bishop under Richard Allen in the African and Methodist Episcopal Church. That is my 4 times great grand uncle. My 3 times great grandfather was married to his niece, my grandmother Annie Wayman. Okay, he was a manager of the Philadelphia Underground Railroad. He fought against slavery. I believe he helped recruit for the Civil War. He was a preacher. Bishop Henry McNeil Turner was a race man and a preacher. Most of my Pan-Africanist forefathers were pastors. Henry Highland Garnett, pastor. Alexander Crummell, pastor. Henry McNeil Turner, pastor. Edward Wilmot Blyden, pastor. You follow me?
Yeah.
So I don't have an issue with the church because my Pan-Africanist forefathers were of the church. My issue is the way in which the black church has been reconstructed in modern time, right? Into an institution of exploitation, no longer an institution of salvation. In other words, pastor.
What y'all think about that? Do y'all think people use the church for gain and not godliness? Or what do y'all think about that? That's what he thinks. Um, a lot of people go into being pastors and want to jump into ministry because they see it as a worldly gain, finances and material things and stuff like that. And it's not so much of that God has called them to that. So let's get back into it. I don't want to go too much into what I think, but he got a point on some people that's not doing the right thing right now.
And politicians are no longer what they used to be for black people in this world, right?
Got you.
And when you look at the church, it almost deifies poverty. It almost deifies powerlessness. The way in which religion is taught to black people makes them comfortable being oppressed. It no longer has a revolutionary spirit because remember, religion was at the heart of the Haitian Revolution,
Yeah.
but it was African religion. Dr. King was a pastor. Malcolm was a Muslim. You see,
Yeah.
so we've seen where religion was used as a revolutionary force.
Yeah.
But how long has it been since we've seen religion be used as a revolutionary force? In my opinion, religion takes three things from black people we cannot afford to waste: too much of our time, too much of our money, and too much of our hope and energy. The
So what do y'all think about that? Do y'all think that religion takes too much of our time, too much of our hope, and too much of our, I think I said money. I think I said money. Yeah. Uh, that's crazy. I know the Bible talks about that we are supposed to have good religion. Everything. I mean, if you think about it, when it comes to religion, we religiously get up in the morning, take our kids to school, we go to work religiously. So if it's not good religion, then what are we doing it for? So, you know, he said it takes up too much of our time, too much of our money. And he said, I think he said it takes up our hope. Our hope's supposed to be in Christ, not the religion. Good religion comes from a good relationship with Christ. I think so.
reason why governments are not afraid of black religion anymore, because black religion protects the government by evangelizing oppression as if it's coming from God and not the white man. In other words, we got to wait on God to fix our problems as opposed to rising up against the white power structure and crushing it. How many black preachers can we say in Toronto right now,
Yeah.
or Montreal right now? How many pastors can you look to that are fighting against the miseducation system in Canada, fighting against, and I've seen the unemployment.
Now, I do believe that the church is a part of the kingdom of God, and the kingdom is supposed to be here on earth as it is in heaven. I think that uh, not as a whole and not all, but I think a lot of people in church and a lot of church people that are not saved, they are um, we don't focus on the right things sometimes. So it goes both ways. You have people that are trying to get things done. You got people that are not doing nothing at all, and they're religious in their religion with no relationship. Um, and I think that if we were to get on the right relationship get in the right relationship with God, God will tell us what to do on this different stuff because a lot of this stuff that's going on today, um, it really doesn't amount to anything, because we're not changing, and the church is supposed to be what is changing the world. We're supposed to be the salt. So how can the world be how can the world be seasoned without salt? A lot of sugar is being spread, making people feel good, but uh, people aren't being the salt of the earth. Um, but Dr. Umar here, he's like, I don't know if he's saved or not. He might practice this, practice that, but that doesn't mean that he has salvation. And I don't know if he has salvation. But he's bringing us some good points that we try to put our dependency on God so much to the way like that we don't want to do anything. And the Bible clearly says that faith without works is dead, and that goes both ways. You can't profess a faith and you're not showing any works toward that faith, and your fruit doesn't add up to that faith. And then it goes both ways too. Faith without works is dead. We're speaking things, but we're not doing nothing. We lazy. We're being slowful. and the Bible speaks against that, being slowful and being lazy. So we gotta wake up. I mean, he, like I say, he got some good points on what I'm listening to, and y'all let me know what y'all listening to in the comments. What are y'all getting out what he's saying?
Fighting against the mass incarceration.
Yeah.
It's almost like here in America.
It definitely is.
Look at the major problems we have in Canada.
Yeah.
Show me a black church that's at the forefront, not participating, because anybody could go to a meeting.
Yeah.
Anybody could join a march. Anybody could show up to a press conference. Show me a church that's at the forefront. I'm the leader. We're going to fix these schools. I'm the leader. We're going to get economic justice. You can't find them, just like we can't find them here, just like you can't find them in Africa.
Yeah.
The black church is no longer a vanguard organization. It is a parasite. It is a spiritual parasite until it goes back to its traditional role. Remember now, historically, we fought the KKK through the church. We got jobs through the church. We buried our dead through the church. Life insurance through the church. The black church was the Walmart of the black community. Whatever you needed, they had it. What happened to that? The black church is now serving itself. It's no longer serving God.
And do you believe that is that specifically with Christianity, or do you think that
All
of
of
other
them are
religions as well?
parasitic.
Got
Now,
you.
Christianity is the most capitalist minded of the religions.
Okay.
Islam is not as capitalist minded, but guess what? It is still anti-revolutionary. It is still anti-African culture in many regards. I was raised Muslim. Philadelphia has the largest percentage of African-American Sunni Orthodox Muslims in the United States. Dearborn has the most Muslims overall, but they Arab.
Yeah.
If you're dealing with American Africans, non-Nation of Islam, Orthodox Muslim,
Yeah.
Philadelphia has more than any city in America. I was raised in it.
Yeah.
I was raised in the very masjid that I believe the Nation of Islam used to own. You understand? Before W. Warithuddin Muhammad took over his father's organization, shut that down, and came with the American Muslim movement. I was raised in one of those mosques. You understand? But I had to walk away because I saw how we completely ignored black people's problems. We completely ignored black culture. We completely ignored the black reality. It was all Islam. Learn your Arabic. And I'm like, I'm a practicing Arab. I'm not practicing Islam. I'm practicing Arabism. Why do I got to learn Arab language to worship God? Why do I got to eat like the Arab to worship God? Why do I got to dress like the Arab to worship God? This is not the worship of God. This is the deification of Arabic culture. And that's why I walked away from it. And now African spirituality is my foundation. But that would have never happened had I never go to Africa in 2005 and go into that Goree Island slave dungeon and them ancestors literally grabbed me that.
And y'all let me know, what is African spirituality? Let me know the definition of that, because honestly, what do they believe in, or what are they worshiping in African spirituality? Why not just say, now I'm saved, now I'm Christian, now I'm following Jesus, now I'm a born again Christian? He said African spirituality. What is that? Somebody let me know in the comments. I have no idea what he meant by that.
Day, and I went through a whole spiritual renaissance in my hotel room literally that day.
Yeah.
And that's what brought me to African spirituality. I speak in churches all the time. I have nothing against the church. There are some who do some good things,
Yeah.
but as a system, black religion, I don't care if you're talking Islam, Christianity, Judaism, black religion as a whole, Seventh-day Adventists, Jehovah's Witnesses, even African spirituality to an extent, they have pushed colorblind philosophy on black people to our own detriment. Every problem that the white man has introduced into the black community, the black church has taken that problem, evangelicized it in a way that makes black people think it either ain't that bad or there's nothing they can do about it until Jesus comes. That's slave time religion. And my issue with black religion is my same issue with black politics. Why we still engaging in the same religious culture we engaged in on the plantation? See, on the plantation, all you could do was pray to God because you was in chains. God had to solve your problems. You weren't allowed to do shit. Now you $2 trillion in America, at least half as much in Canada. You understand? You got enough revenue to do something for yourself now, but we still on hands and knees begging God. Part of the science of prayer, as I teach, you pray for what you can't do. You never pray for what you can do. To pray for what you can do is an insult against the Creator. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Too often we're praying
Who is God? The creator is God.
for what we can do. God ain't gonna respond to you. Why would God respond to you when you got the ability to do it yourself? To ask of the Creator to do something for you that you can do yourself is to make a mockery of the Most High.
So would you say that you're looking for kind of
Hey, ain't gonna lie, that sound pretty stern. That sound really good. To ask God to ask God to do something that you can do, it's like, why are you praying for it instead of just going to do it? Now you should ask God for guidance on what you're supposed to do, but when it comes to helping people and changing people's lives, if it's of godliness, go do it. You don't have to pray for what you can do. That makes sense. That makes sense. Pray for what you can't do. If somebody trying to hold you back, somebody trying to hinder you, you pray against that and say, God, move them, or God, move this situation, or help me on this. That makes sense what he's saying. Uh, but this concludes this reaction to Dr. Umar. I hope that you guys will subscribe. Please go and subscribe and make sure that you like, share, and subscribe because we want to get this channel out and get it into the algorithm. We haven't been on here lately, but we're coming back. So y'all make sure that y'all go subscribe. I appreciate y'all, and I'll see